Do you hear me now? Okay. I don't show. I'm going to stop streaming here. I'm going to try and hop off and hop back on. Because unless I can get my video to work again. There! Success! What happened? I have no idea. All right. Welcome again. Good. All right. Well, thank you. Looks like I have a little bit of editing to do at the beginning of this video. Welcome to today's Q&A. My name is Jessie, here with Decker Truckline, out loud and in person. If you are looking to drive for Decker or are currently driving for Decker and have some questions, it's a good opportunity to ask them. So again, if you have questions, put them in the chat, which is over here. Thank goodness for the chat, or I wouldn't have known that the audio was not working properly. And yeah, I must have turned the mute button on that I didn't know existed when I lifted my microphone earlier. Anyways, thank you for being here. And if you have the questions, you put them in the chat. I'll answer them as we go. Otherwise, I will fill you in on what we've got going on here at Decker and all that good stuff. If that sounds fair, we'll get rocking. If I don't hear anything, I'll continue to talk. All right. Well, first of all, here at Decker, we did have a recent award with Project 44. So we are awarded as one of the preferred carriers. Love seeing those awards. That is, how many is that this year? It's a couple, which is exciting. My favorite, of course, is the best fleets to drive for. I'm not sure I shouldn't say it's our favorite, but that is one that it's a lot of work, of course, to make sure that we reach that. And thank goodness for all of our professional drivers who have voted and taken surveys and actually nominated us to begin with. So anyways, 2025 best fleets to drive for, best overall carrier. I've got to do that plug. It's absolutely exciting for me. All right, let's answer your questions and kind of get the ball rolling. All right. We do have a couple of different positions available here at Decker. We have some newer ones that are home on the weekends actually. So we've got some refrigerated, we've got flatbed opportunities, and then of course we've got over-the-road opportunities as well in our refrigerated, our flatbed, both solo on the refrigerated side and team on the refrigerated side. So we have both of those, or all of those, multiple. So we have all of those. We'll talk benefits, we'll talk equipment, we'll talk orientation as well. But before we do, I do want to remind you that today, the 13th of May, is the start of the CVSA's road check. So if you weren't ready, maybe you've already noticed that the road check is in full swing. It will be today, tomorrow, and Thursday. So it goes through the 15th. And if the road check is new to any of you, if you guys are new to the industry and aren't used to these full-on inspections happening, it's very similar. I mean, it's just like a normal roadside inspection, right? Except there's probably a lot more of them. So they've got multiple stations up for the CVSA roadside inspection or road check. The reason that they're doing it is to gain data, right? Is to get some insight. And in order to get the data they need to bump up the number of inspections so that they can get consistency. You know, like the larger pool that you're surveying, the better or the more accurate the results. There we go. The more accurate the results are. And so that's why when they're trying to get data or numbers on for this week or this year, it's focused on tires. So in order to get the data they need, they bump up the number of inspections, and that's why they have this blitz. And there's a lot more inspections going on throughout the U.S. and throughout North America, really. Then they'll get the numbers that they need so they can go back and make improvements on however they improve it. But yeah, you're probably seeing a lot more inspections this week, today, tomorrow, and Thursday. But that said, please be prepared. Make sure you're doing your proper pre-trip and your proper post-trip. As far as the Decker family, if you have any concerns or maintenance needs, and especially if it's a tire, if you've got low tread count, or if you've blown tire, or bulging on the side, that stuff needs to be fixed, right? You can't just sit there. It's too dangerous. You've got a lot of weight. You've got yourself in the truck. Make sure that you're making that call. We've got 24/7 roadside assistance. Our maintenance department rocks. So you give them a call, you let them know, they'll help you take care of it. So always a good thing. And I know a lot of trucking companies out there have that roadside. Take advantage of it, you guys. Make sure that your maintenance is up to where it should be. It's a safety thing, and we all know that, right? Whether it's safety for you, for others on the road, it all counts, right? So please be safe. Hey, Sean, how are you? Again today, we get 2 days in a row. Flatbed Trucker says, yes, so be sure you do your pre-trip and post-trip. Yeah, the post-trip is so nice, especially, if you're dropping a trailer, do that post-trip. Don't just dump something onto the next driver picking up the trailer, right? We do a lot of drop and hook. And it's pertinent that you do your post-trip. So if there's damage to, say, a tire or whatever it might be, a light, if there's damage to the trailer, report that so that our maintenance department can get on that. We can take care of it before the next person comes and picks up that trailer. And if we need to move all of it, if you're dropping a full trailer, we might need to lump everything into another trailer so that it can get to the next destination. If need be, if they can't fix it right then and there. But there's no reason to just dump it onto another driver, right? We got to look out for each other. It's teamwork all together, and you sure make more friends looking out for each other than you do just dumping it on them. So, make sure you do your post-trip, just as important as your pre-trip, right? All right. Get off of that. But yeah, that's the CVSA's road check inspection week. They are focusing on tires. They're looking at bulges. They're looking at cuts. They're looking at tread depth. They're the whole thing. So, but it's still an inspection. So they're still looking at your brakes and your, in all of the tubes, making sure that your fuel filter is good. You don't have any cracks on the suspensions or the brake lines, and they're looking at everything. But the focus, the numbers that they're accumulating are based on the tire and the treads, or the tire more specifically. This is also National Transportation Week. So not just trucking, but you're talking air, like any type of logistics, right? And then on Thursday is the national, I'm going to get the wording wrong. Did I write it anywhere? National Transportation Defense, I think is the day. Yeah, the wording is a little bit different than what I'm used to, so try to get it. But it is National Transportation Week, so it's a great week to educate the public on what transportation does and how it affects the rest of the world, which, oh my goodness, can you rely on anything this much? Transportation gets everything to and from where it needs to be on time, ideally on time, right? Of course. So, yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the available positions that we do have. I hit just briefly on our refrigerated and our flatbed opportunities, but maybe we should dive a little bit deeper and tell you where those are located. If you have a question, or if you can provide me with your city and state, as well as, or maybe even your zip code, either or, then I can be more specific on, hey, this is what we have in your area. You can call and get more details, or, I can give them to you here. But if you provide me your location, then I can provide you specifics instead of saying, in some areas we have refrigerated, in some areas we have flatbed. I like specific answers, so I'm assuming you do too. If you want to speak to a recruiter directly instead of joining the live, you have that option. This number, somewhere around here on the bottom of the page, of the video is the number to the recruiting department. 877-433-2537. 877-433-2537. And that way you can talk directly to one of the guys and they can help you out. Sean says, I picked up a trailer with a flat last week. See, that flat halfway to Iowa on the same trailer before the pickup I had in my truck. Truck was a loose valve stem. Ooh, oh, on the truck. Before the pickup, I had one on my truck. Yeah, those are the things that, I mean, you're going down the road and, you know, if you have a tire blow or you're going low on tire, that can really throw a wrench in your plans, right? Your time frame and everything. Besides, not just besides, but in addition to having that safety, it's all, you know, it all is encompassed. It all affects each other. So, yeah, definitely do your pre-trip, your post-trip. So with the refrigerated, let's kind of go one by one for these different positions. How's that? Our refrigerated, we have home weekly. We have a more regional, it's 11 days out, 3 days home. And then we have our over the road, which is 2 to 3 weeks out at a time, and then home for 4 to 5 days. I'm going to first talk about the home weekly, because for many of you, that's the most attractive. So with the home weekly, it is a very specific location that we're hiring out of. This is a new opportunity for us as far as getting home weekly, getting home on the weekends, not just home weekly, but on the weekends. So for those of you who have family and you need to be there on the weekends or want to be there on the weekends, this is a great opportunity for you, right? Of course, it is. Mike says, don't forget the English proficiency test. Oh, yes, that's a great thing. We'll talk about that during orientation, the orientation process. Thank you, Mike. Yes, I forgot about that. I don't even think about that because some of those things I'm like, you know, they're automatic. It's so natural to me that I don't even think about it. You know, it's a given. And that's why these Q&As are so handy. And then I get input from some of you that help remind me that, you know, not everybody knows that we do that. You better share it. So thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. But that's referring during the orientation process. So we will hit on that here in just a minute. As far as this refrigerated, home weekly, and home on weekends, let's get a little bit more specific for this. I'm going to try and give you a visual to go off of. How's that? You're like, just do it. All right, so I'm going to draw the outline with these locations, and then everything inside, in between all of these areas, is going to be within the hiring area for this position. Again, home weekly, home on the weekends for the refrigerated opportunity. If you live anywhere from Indianapolis to Cincinnati, so along these routes, Indianapolis to Cincinnati, Ohio, up to Columbus, on over northeast to Cleveland, back on over to Detroit, back down to, where is that area? The Coldwater area, you know, about the southern part of Michigan, south central Michigan, there we go, and then back down to Indianapolis. Everything in between there, that odd shape, that is within the hiring area for the home weekly. And maybe you don't know this, but the reason we're so specific on where we hire for these positions is because we want to make sure that we keep the deadhead low. We want to make sure that we can get you home so that the freight allows for us to get you home as consistently as we're promising. Because if I offered weekly home time in New Mexico, I wouldn't be able to hold up my end of the deal, right? Like, I have to have the freight in that location to support it. And so that's why I'm kind of drawing that visual for you so that you know a real heavy freight for the refrigerated there. We can get you home weekly. We can get you home not only weekly, but on the weekends. And I think that's a huge answer to a lot of your guys' request. And the rate of pay is going to be based on your experience level. So the rate of pay for the home weekly is anywhere from 56 cents a mile to 65 cents a mile to start. That's to start. Now, and that's based off your experience level. We require a minimum of 6 months of experience. So if you're coming on right away did I say 55? Or 55 cents a mile. I think I said 56. But the answer, it's 55 to 65 cents a mile is the starting pay for the refrigerated, depending on your experience level. So if you have 6 months of experience, it's 55 cents a mile to start in the refrigerated division. All of these cents per mile that I'm talking about, they include 10 cents per mile of per diem. So 10 cents of the cents per mile that I'm quoting you is not taxed. So keep that in mind. It's a little bit more take home for you each week. But just in case I don't repeat that later on, I want to make sure that you do realize that 10 cents per mile is not taxed. It is per diem. So 50, to be even more specific, 45 cents is taxed and 10 cents is not. So 55 total for the cents per mile. All right. Again, that's for someone with 6 months of experience. That's the minimum amount of experience that we can work to with this position. So if you have 2+ years, that's ideal. 2+ years of experience. The rate of pay per mile would be a little bit more. 2 years of experience would start you at 57 cents a mile. And again, 10 cents of that's per diem. You get, in all cases, in each case that I'm giving you, the way that the pay structure works is you get a penny per mile. After you've been with us for 90 days, you'll get a penny per mile increase. So you'll go from 55 to 56 cents a mile at that point, if you're starting with just 6 months experience. And then when you hit your year anniversary, you'll get another penny per mile. So each year you'll get an annual raise of a penny per mile. But your initial first 90 days, you'll have a bump within the 90 days or at the 90-day mark as well. So technically within the first year, you get 2 raises instead of 1. And that's for the refrigerated. Okay, now I do want to say that the cap currently is at 70 cents a mile. So if you're starting at 65 cents a mile, so if you have 11 years of experience, you're asking on 11 years of experience, yes, that would start you at 65 cents a mile. In our refrigerated division, 65 is the highest that we start anybody at, but then you'll get a penny raise at 90 days, right? And then you get a penny raise annually. Now the cap is at 70 cents. So, whether or not we have a raise by then or not, I can't tell you, but I'm assuming by the time you get to the 70 that you would. It's 5 years from now, so. Or actually it'd be 4 years from now because of the 90 days. Okay. That's refrigerated. All right. Flatbed's a different story. The pay it's similar, but it is structured different, or it is different intervals. So I'm talking refrigerated right now, and in the home weekly position. So that should give you an idea. The range for that one, I gotta double check on my mileage rates. I believe the average miles, I just wanted to make sure. But the average miles in that position are right around the 2,200 miles a week mark for that home weekly position. So again, if you have more questions, you want more answers, don't hesitate to call our recruiting department, 877-433-2537. So if you are in those areas that I mentioned earlier, which is pretty much areas of Indiana and Ohio, I was going to say Indiana and Columbus, Indiana and Ohio, and into the Detroit area of Michigan, those are all within our home weekly refrigerated position. All right, 877-433-2537. That's going to be your best deal to reach out and talk to a recruiter to get more specifics on that one. Now we have other options. We have it's over the road refrigerated. It's a little bit different. So I say over the road, and I kind of bounce back and forth calling it over the road and regional. And I do want to clarify, because if I'm using the wrong words, if you're just, if you would consider this regional versus what I would consider regional versus over the road, I think I need to clarify so that we're on the same page. The 11 days out and 3 days home, it is regional in the fact that you're not usually running coast to coast in this position. It's still over the road and being out 11 days at a time and home for 3. So I hopefully clearing this up for you. Basically, you're going to run mostly mostly east of Denver. So if you drew a line there in Colorado and then, north and south, and then everything east of there would be basically in the 11 days out and 3 days home. It's not to say that you couldn't go out west. It's just most of the runs, in order to get you home every 11 days, are going to be strong within the Midwest and out towards the east. And when I say east, I don't want you thinking, oh, they do a lot of New England states. No, we don't. we might have a run. I know we have an ice cream run in southern New York, the state of New York, but most of our runs, and also Maryland. So most of our runs are going to be heavy in the Midwest and towards these like Atlanta, Georgia, or the Carolinas, Tennessee for sure, right? Virginia, Pennsylvania, but we don't do a whole lot in the New England states or New York. We every once in a while we'll have something there. It's just not a heavy freight area for us. Texas is a good area. Oklahoma is a good area, and really Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, you see a lot of that. Colorado, Kansas, very Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin. There we go. Naming all of those right there in the middle. Those are very popular states for us, real heavy freight areas. But that said, it's 11 days out at a time, home for 3. And we do work with as little as 6 months of experience to get you started. And again, the rate of pay is 55 cents a mile, 10 cents of that's per diem, up to 65 cents a mile to start. A penny raise at 90 days and a penny raise annually. In that out 11 days and home for 3, we also offer a sign-on bonus. So if I know every once in a while we have individuals who are specifically looking for sign-on bonuses and for that up. If that's the case, the sign-on bonus for the refrigerated 11 days out, 3 days home is, in most areas, it is $4,000. And there is a small area around Chicago that we do offer a Chicago, so more Illinois and Indiana, that we offer a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Now the requirements for the sign-on bonus are that you have at least 2 years of experience. At least 2 years of experience and no more than 3 jobs within the last 18 months. So we have an experience requirement and we have a longevity requirement. That's what I'm going to call it. So I don't know what you'd call it, but it's no more than 3 jobs within the last 18 months in order to qualify. So those are the requirements for the position, the sign-on bonus. And that's the $5,000 sign-on bonus. The other areas, outside of the Chicago, the Illinois, Indiana area, those are the $4,000 sign-on bonus. And more specifically, again, give me your zip code, give me your city and state, one or the other, or talk to the recruiter about it, and they'll tell you, this is in your area, this is what we have for a sign-on bonus. And the reason being, some sign-on bonus, or some areas are different for the sign-on bonus than others, is because of the demand, right? The freight, the demand of the freight, the pay on the freight, all of that. I think I said that right. Hopefully that makes sense to you. But so it's $5,000, which pays $1,500 on your 6-month mark, $1,500 on your 9-month mark when you hit those anniversaries, and then on your 1-year anniversary, you'll get the remaining $2,000. Yes, I did math in my head. Super proud of myself. So, $1,500, $1,500, $2,000. Now, for the rest of the refrigerated hiring area, it is a $4,000 sign-on bonus, and that pays out at 6 months, 9 months, and 1 year as well, but it'll be $1,000 on 6 months, $1,000 at 9 months, and the remaining $2,000 on your 1-year anniversary. So that's how the $4,000 sign-on bonus works. And if that's whether you're in the 11 days out, 3 days home, or the 2 to 3 weeks out at a time and home for 4 to 5 days, right? We figure for every 7 days you're out, it's a day and a half home time. Now, in areas that we only have 2 to 3 weeks out and home for 4 to 5 days, like we don't have the 11 out at a time, or we don't have the home weekly, those are going to be more out west. So think of Salt Lake City or Boise, Idaho. I'm excited because we haven't hired out of Boise for a while, so it's exciting to add a new area out in the west. pretty much all of Colorado we currently hire out of. Huge win there because I get calls from there all the time. I know many of you guys are excited to hear that we've opened up the hiring areas in Colorado. Cheyenne, Wyoming, Missoula, Montana, Billings, Montana, Spokane, Washington. Pretty much the whole state of Washington is fantastic for us, has been for, we've got a lot of freight there. Northern Oregon, Portland, Hermiston, Pendleton. Those are all good areas for us. Arizona. So if you are in the Phoenix area or even Tucson area, we have over-the-road refrigerated for you there. Again, those are 2 to 3 weeks out at a time and 4 to 5 days home. Right? Yeah, 4 to 5 days home at a time. So if you have questions, the same number, 877-433-2537. It spells for Decker. So 877, the number 4, Decker, D-E-C-K-E-R. If it's easier to remember. So that is our refrigerated options as a solo. We also have a team refrigerated option, which would be, you're usually out 4 to 5 weeks at a time on the team opportunity. Again, this is our over the road. We had a dedicated one. That one's full. To the best of my knowledge, that one is full. And that one was a home weekly. So if you've been watching the lives here the last couple of weeks, you'll notice that I was talking about a different team opportunity then. This one is an over the road one. It's 4 to 5 weeks out. And then, 5 days home. You're, you're running coast to coast, longer runs. The pay scale is different. You get 60 cents a mile to the truck on all dispatch miles, so loaded and empty. So how that works is it's 60 cents a mile. So you just basically split that 60, 30 and 30, 5 cents each is going to be per diem. So it's 25 cents taxed, 5 cents not taxed per driver in that team. And you'll get, so that's what you get every single week, every Friday, direct deposit, right? Now, the way that the pay scale works for the teams is it's ungraduated. The more miles you run for the month, the more pay you get per mile. But because it's on a monthly basis, you get paid the month following when you ran it on the mileage. Okay? So again, you get paid every week direct deposit on your the miles that you ran. You get in by Tuesday night tonight, and then you get paid Friday for it. But when all the miles are calculated, for the monthly miles, if they are over 18,000 miles a month, you'll get an additional 8 cents a mile. That's again split to the truck, and that is all taxed. None of that's per diem. That is the average bonus, is the 8 cents a mile, but it's also the max on that. So there's graduated. If you run between 12 to 14,000 miles a month, it's an extra 2 cents a mile. 14 to 16, it's an extra 4. It goes into those increments. But our teams average about 24 to 26,000 a month. So anything over 18,000, you're getting 8 cents a mile. So that's why I focused more on the 8 cents a mile than I did the different levels, right? Not many people run super solo miles anymore, which is kind of how that was designed originally. And most of our teams run team. Now, in that over-the-road position, we could wiggle you in to some of the dedicated team freight temporarily, whilst if one of those teams is, say, on home time or if they're on vacation, you could be covering those. Otherwise, you'd be running our over-the-road freight, which is more coast to coast. You could be in Washington, you could be in Georgia, all over the place, whereas the dedicated is very dedicated. It's more Kansas, Chicago, Denver areas. So kind of gives you an idea. Along I-80 is fantastic for us for freight. Really, along I-80 for both teams and solo is a fantastic area for us. Okay, so that's our team opportunity. Oh, didn't mention, we do pay the sign-on bonus for the team as well. So the teams, you're still qualifying by driver. So if you have one team member that has 3 years of experience and one team member that only has 6 months experience, the team member with the 3 years is the one that would qualify for the sign-on bonus. And as long as they have no more than 3 jobs within the last 18 months. So that's still a qualifying factor. Same qualifications, okay? But it's individual, not just if one team member gets it, you split it. That's not how it is. It's still per driver. So you can still maximize that. Refrigerated. Did I miss anything on that one? I don't think I did. Now, team-wise, we do have some, or team-wise, flatbed-wise, we do have some flatbed opportunities as well. Our over-the-road, coast-to-coast, you're usually home every other weekend. And it's not guaranteed on the weekend, but it's pretty common to be coming in on like a Friday night or a Saturday morning and then leaving back out Sunday night or Monday morning. There we go, can't talk. It's pretty similar on the home weeklies as well. Usually Friday night, Saturday morning, back out Sunday night, Monday morning. We don't guarantee the weekends. It's just that's pretty common freight-wise. So for some reason, if there was a delay in a load or a mechanical breakdown or something, that could obviously affect your home time for the week. But it's usually at least a 34, usually a 48. Flatbed home weekly or home every other week is available in Texas and the Carolinas and pretty much everything in between there. A lot of the Midwest and Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, those are all really good areas for our flatbed. The Texas to the Carolinas is fantastic. We even hire out of Florida, both for refrigerated and flatbed right now. And as far as a home weekly, we have home weekly opportunities in several areas of the Midwest, but then we also have home weekly available in a small area on I-20 between Bessemer, Alabama, which we have a terminal in Bessemer. We don't do orientation there. We do orientation in Fort Dodge, Iowa, which is our main terminal, but we do have a terminal in Bessemer, with a full shop, and we've got our driver leaders, some of our operations department there. But anyways, I'm veering. From Bessemer, Alabama to Atlanta, Georgia, along 20 there, we do have the home weekly. Now, that does mean that you'd still be running up to the Midwest, probably once a week and then back down, but it is home weekly. All right, so there's that. In the areas of the Midwest, you're usually in a more confined area. Indiana, Illinois, southern Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin. Those are all really busy areas for us in that division, for our Midwest division especially. For our over-the-road flatbed, we have a minimum pay of $1,000 a week. Average is usually about 13 to 16, I think 17 and some in the OTR. And then with the Midwest flatbed, that's home weekly, average is about $1,450. We have a $1,450 as our minimum pay, and I think average is right around the $1,500 because I do see some of our weekly getting up into $1,550. But your home weekly can qualify for an $8,000 sign-on bonus for that Midwest flatbed, that $1,450 home weekly in the flatbed division. Same type of pay schedule. You'll get, now I have to do my math again. You'll get $2,000 on your 6-month anniversary. You'll get another $2,000 on your 9-month anniversary. And on your 1-year anniversary at 12 months, you'll get the remaining $4,000. See? 2, 2, 4. So $8,000 total for that sign-on bonus. That is only available in our Midwest flatbed division, the $1,450 area. Again, if you have questions, the best thing to do is to reach out to our recruiting department. 877-433-2537 to ask them. Now, we have those minimum pays, but your rate of pay per mile, which is based on your experience level, that's probably going to give you the better pay of the two. At least that's what I see, when we're printing out our monthly spreadsheets. That's what I'm usually seeing is the pay the rate of pay per mile outranks the minimum pay. But it's nice to have that safety net, right? It's nice to have that to protect yourself. Now, as far as the flatbed opportunities, get a drink of my Lotus. As far as flatbed opportunities, the rate of pay per mile is similar structured as the refrigerated, but it's usually a little bit higher. Like we start 56 cents a mile in the flatbed division versus 55 in the refrigerated for someone who has 6 months of experience. Now, if you need training in flatbed, like you have a year of tractor trailer experience, but it's not flatbed and you want to do flatbed, then yes, we have that training available to you in orientation. If, like for flatbed trucker, he's asking 11 years of experience. My cheat sheet's over here, by the way. When it breaks it down, the 11 years of experience, you're starting at 68 cents a mile. 10 cents of that is per diem. Again, 10 cents per diem. And you'll get a penny raise after 90 days, and then you'll get a penny raise on your 1 year anniversary. 70 cents a mile is currently our cap, so you'd hit the cap faster in the flatbed division than you would in the refrigerated division. Now, if you have 15 years of experience in flatbed, you'd start at our 70 cents a mile. So that's a little bit different than the way that our refrigerated structure is. But yes, and our sign-on bonus is a little bit more for the flatbed division than it is for the refrigerated, depending on where you live, right? The demand. And the miles are pretty comparable. They're usually pretty similar in flatbed and refrigerated. And I know sometimes people are concerned with flatbed, like, oh, during the winter months you don't see as much, but we do a lot in the South as well. And so it's not, we wouldn't keep you only in the South, but there's enough there that it'll keep you busy throughout the year. And I think that's good to know when you're looking for the long haul, right? Oh, pun, and I didn't even intend it. So that's the rate of pay per mile. That's the pay schedule for the flatbed. Flatbed, we don't do a whole lot out west. We really don't run a lot of west in the flatbed division. So you're running mostly east of Denver and a lot up and down the Midwest. So again, if you have questions on the hiring area, feel free to give us a call. I want to make sure that I kind of go through the hiring process and give you details on orientation before I let you go today, because I get questions on that quite a bit. So first of all, in order to qualify for the position, at least 6 months of experience. 2 years of experience for some of the sign-on bonuses, unless it's Midwest flatbed. And then with the tickets, moving violations, no more than 1 ticket in the last 12 months, no more than 2 in the last, so no more than 2 in the last 3 years in order to qualify. Now, if you have a major moving violation, that automatically disqualifies you for at least 3 years. So flatbed trucker says, I have 4 years of experience. 4 years would start you at 63 cents a mile. You'd get a penny raise at 90 days, and you get a penny raise annually for a couple of years at that point. So yes, the qualifying, disqualifying. So for the tickets, moving violations, no major moving violations within the last 3 years, and that's including careless, reckless, following too close, erratic lane change, handheld device. I'm sure I'm missing some, but those are all considered major moving violations. 15 over. Did I say that one already? Anyways, those are all major moving violations. If you have a preventable DOT recordable accident, it does need to be at least 3 years old as well. If it's in a commercial vehicle, probably 5. And what else am I missing qualifying? In order to qualify for some of the sign-on bonuses, I just said this, sorry. I'm just realizing that I said it. But 2 years of experience in the refrigerated. For the Midwest flatbed, 6 months experience in order to qualify for that sign-on and for the position. So 877-433-2537. Okay, so if you qualify, if you're in the hiring area and you meet all of the qualifications, then the recruiter, if you choose to come to Decker, they will start making the next steps, right? So the next steps would be to schedule you for a physical, so getting you a new physical and getting your drug test taken care of before you come to orientation. It'll save you a lot of time, and you'd probably be very thankful for not having to sit and wait for others while they go through it. So how that works, if your physical is good for another year, then we don't need to redo your physical. We just need you to send us over the long form. However, if you only have 3 months left on your physical, it's better to get it done now instead of having you taking you off the road and doing it then. So if we're scheduling your physical, we'll get that done. We'll have you do the drug tests at the same time. The drug tests are both the hair follicle and the urinalysis. And again, we schedule and pay for both of those. We just make the arrangements and you show up. So, and then we usually make them, usually your recruiter will double check with you. Hey, is this location good? Can you get to this location? So that it's more convenient for you, because you're doing it before you come to orientation in Fort Dodge. Also, before you come to orientation, we have you take care of some of the online orientation, which is basically made up of a few modules. The number of modules would be like a video or a video or an interactive image or an article, and then each one of those, whether it's usually one of those three, is followed by a number of questions, 1 to 5 questions, in order to move on to the next module. This is where Mike mentioned there's an English proficiency test. On the online orientation, yes, part of that is a proficiency test to make sure that you can read and write English. It's important because obviously a lot of our signs across the U.S. are English, or in the English language, which I'm struggling with right now. So that said, if you're not proficient, it could be a safety issue. The Luma modules. Mike says the Luma modules, which is exactly what I'm talking about. So perfect. Thank you, Mike. And so the Luma training, it's called eNugget Learning, which is the email address or the web address that you're going to be logging into. But it is, in fact, Luma modules. That's what Luma is, the company that designs it for us. The platform that we use. There we go. And so it is a number of modules that you'll go through before moving on to the next. That we get done before you come to orientation. You'll still have some modules that you'll go through in orientation. It's more hands-on though. You'll be meeting some of the different departments. You'll be working with the ELD systems. You'll have we call it a workbook, but really it's a manual you'll be able to reference throughout, and it's also available on the ELD, so that you can, if you're not sure who to contact, it's got your contact form. It's got your an example of your pay stubs. What's your pay stub going to look like, and how does it break it down? Because we have per diem, there will be a section at the top of your pay stub for the taxable income, and then you'll have the non-taxable, which is the per diem or any, also any reimbursements or anything that you might have had. Yes, we do put money on your card in case you need it, but sometimes, every once in a while there might be a reimbursement or something like that you have. Extra pays such as clean inspection, extra $50 or something like that. Chart pay. Those are all, that's how you'd see it, is broke up like there. But there's several examples within that workbook so that you know what it will look like. And then we've highlighted it. It's so that you know what each section means. It's nice because I've ran into, with other companies, I've seen pay stubs. I'm like, I don't even know what this means. And it's so frustrating because, yeah, on the accountant side you might, but as the driver or as the employee, we don't always know what that means. So it's nice because it's broke down, just simple for you to understand, so that you're not sitting there questioning what the heck is this. Anyways, I might have veered on that one. Also, there's some troubleshooting tips. The maintenance department got with us and they went through and gave me a lot of their commonly asked questions, and then they answered them. So whether it be on fueling or fuel routing or troubleshooting your APU unit, anything like that, they've answered those questions in the manual so that you can refer back to it. They've also videoed a couple of those for us, and you can access those on our YouTube channel. You can also link them through that manual. So pretty nice that way. What else? Oh, also part of the orientation and in the Luma training, you'll see a repayment agreement. That repayment agreement shows you the expenses, whether it be the physical, the drug tests, the transportation, because we take care of the transportation from wherever you're coming from to Fort Dodge, Iowa, whether it be a flight or a rental car and gas. That's all calculated and put into this repayment agreement. So if you were to leave us within the first 6 months, you could be responsible for a portion of those expenses. Once the 6 months left, it doesn't even matter how much was left. It if you're still with us, it's not a problem. Now, if you left at 6 months, but each month we knock it down 100. So I just realized that I probably am explaining this in a confusing manner because I went backwards. But so this repayment agreement, if you're here for 6 months or more, it doesn't even matter that it exists. You won't even see it. But if you left within the first, say, 3 months, then every month we knock $100 off. So if the total was $800 for expenses, and then you were here for 3 months, now it's down to $500, right? You're not paying that. It's just we knock $100 off every month until 6 months, and then it's like null and void. So that's that's making sure that you're doing your due diligence as well as us doing our due diligence and vetting you and you vetting the company when you're coming aboard. So it's kind of holding each other responsible for making sure that we're doing the research on each other and that we're going to be a good fit. But again, it's null and void at that point, and you can talk to several of our drivers and get a feel for that. It's not a contract, but it is a repayment agreement. So it's similar in some aspects, but it's, like I said, 6 months, it's null and void, and you're not responsible for any of it if you're here at 6 months or beyond. What else is in that Luma training? There's quite a bit of information, like pre-trips and post-trips and details on what you should be looking for and safety protocol. A lot of that you'll go through a lot of that during orientation as well, especially like fuel compliance, idle time, the scorecard. That's another thing. We have 2 monthly bonuses, our scorecard and our safety bonus, and those apply to our different positions as well. That can get you an extra 5 cents a mile as a company driver between those two. One is the safety bonus is an extra penny per mile on all the miles you completed the previous month. And the scorecard is an extra 4 or up to 4 because you could get 1, 2, 3, or 4 depending on, how high of a score you have. 1,000 is a perfect score. So if you have like anything 825 or above, you get at least a penny per mile. Anyway, so those bonuses, you can start earning those bonuses once you're here. Well, not even a full month. Some people are able to, if they started on the 5th this last week, some of them are still able to qualify for part of that scorecard and safety bonus. So, as long as you have miles in by, I think it's 1,000 miles in by the end of the month when it's calculated, you can still qualify for it. So, right away. I was headed in going into orientation. So we take care of your hotels, your meal. We don't check you up with anybody for the hotel, so they're solo rooms. We take care of your meals while you're here, and it's usually a 3-day orientation: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. $500 for completing the orientation. We, get you dispatched, get you moving, put you to work. That's what you came here for, right? To get you to work. So we get that going. You'll meet with the maintenance department. I know they provided you a whole lot of information in that manual, but you'll also meet with the maintenance department, and they'll go through a lot of our amenities with you so that you're comfortable in running them and possibly even troubleshooting them if need be. We have a lot of amenities. Our equipment, they're mostly they're newer model, first of all, mostly the 579 Peterbilts. We have some 586, we have some 389s. The 389s are usually assigned to some of our veteran drivers. They're kind of spec'd out for them. They've been here for 15 plus years. They get to pick a little bit, right? We've got some 589s. Those are newer Pete's they have larger refrigerators too, like 3.2. They're big. But that's what we're seeing moving forward. We have some Freightliner Cascadia Evolutions, and we have a few Volvos, 780s on the refrigerated side and 860s. And then we have a few 740s on the flatbed side. 95% at least of our trucks are the Peterbilts. So that's the majority of our trucks. We are definitely a Peterbilt company. But they have APUs, inverters, refrigerators, microwaves, CB units. We have a 22-inch television with company paid Epic View streaming, which comes with free Wi-Fi. So the Epic View streaming comes with 100 plus channels, HBO, Cinemax, Showtime. And because it's a smart TV, if you have a subscription to Netflix or Hulu or Paramount Plus or whatever, if you're like me and like to watch 1923, then you've got the subscription. If you've got the subscription, you can sign in. But Decker does hold the Epic View subscription, which is, like I said, 100 plus channels. And then the Wi-Fi is free. We have, what else? They're double bunk trucks. We have CB units in the trucks as well. We do have radio ready equipment. So if you are somebody who has a subscription to Sirius Radio, you can hook that up. You can set up your subscription on that. We have all the equipment. You're just responsible for the subscription. Different than obviously the TV, which Decker holds a subscription for you on that. They're, like I said, they're radio ready. We have free Wi-Fi, so if you are somebody who listens to podcasts or audible tapes or whatever, audio tapes. Audibles is what I was going for, but books on your phone, streaming, whatever. Those you can listen to. If you're listening to them, make sure, where's my phone? Make sure that that the screen is facing away from you, okay? You can't see, but like you need to make sure that your screen is facing away so that when you're using the phone, if you are called in for an inspection, you're never questioned about, hey, you're watching this YouTube podcast and you're being distracted. Nope, I'm not. I am listening to it. It is facing the other direction. It's way over there. I'm good. Okay, that was a side note, but it's important to know, right? What else? Lots of amenities. CB units, I mentioned those. Of course, we've got Pre-Pass, K-Pass. We've got the, or Best Pass, Best Pass, DriveWise. All of our trucks are equipped with all of that. We do have, especially with our Freightliners, and we're starting to get them into some of our other trucks as well, or on our other trucks, are the solar panels. That is to prolong the life of the APU unit. The APUs still run on diesel. So in the winter, you want to make sure that you're treating your gel so they don't gel up, or you're treating your fuel so it doesn't gel up, obviously. But the solar panel helps extend the life of the APU because it's easier on the starter. So anyways, Mike, we don't do that anymore. I just found that out. We stopped not too long ago. But yes, thank you for that. Keep adding these little bonuses for me, Mike, so that I don't forget anything. I do appreciate it. Yeah, so the trucks are very, very well equipped. The 589s, both the 589s and the 579s, real roomy. All the trucks are pretty roomy. They're pretty similar in style anymore. There's a little bit different, but the way that they ride is pretty similar. They are all automatics. Am I missing anything I always miss something as far as the amenities, but they are very well equipped. The air ride seats on both the passenger side and the driver side. We do allow a passenger, by the way, ages 10 and up. It's $25 a month that they ride. Obviously, if they're youth, they would need parental approval, from one of the parents or the other parent. Miss anything? I don't know. Benefits, those all start after 60 days. We have Aplos is what we use for our insurance. We have the online app, which is handy dandy on researching your providers. We also have $0 co-pays on generic. We have it also available in our specialty and brand name. So if you are on a prescription, that can save you a bundle of money. But yeah, we have medical, dental, vision, prescription. We have additional insurances like accidental death and disability, long-term, short-term, critical illness. there's a lot. And we have our EAP program, which is our Employee Assistance Program. It does provide counseling sessions. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And sometimes there's some resistance for counseling, and you've got free counseling there. You can take advantage of that and use it. But there's a whole lot more available in that EAP program beyond counseling. There are estate planning courses. There are and resources. There are for someone who's going through adoption, child care, adult care, addiction. And it's not just for our Decker employees, but it's also for their family. So it extends to that as well. But yeah, that's all available after 60 days. We have a 401k with a 25% match. We have that as well. Again, after 60 days. And as far as vacation, you'll get 5 days vacation or 5 days PTO, same thing, after you've been here for 6 months. Then you'll get another week vacation after your 1-year anniversary. You'll continue annually with vacation. You get at 3 years, you'll get 2 weeks. At 7 years, you get 3 weeks. So it'll continue each year on that. So yeah. If you're interested in coming aboard to Decker, please don't hesitate to give our recruiting department a call. It's 877-433-2537 or 877-4 Decker. And they'll be able to answer those questions and help you out. If I miss anything, feel free to ask. I will keep the chat going. I'll check on the comments and make sure that I'm answering those even after the live. But I'm going to shutter down here and just make sure that if you have more questions, you can either call us or respond in the comments, and I'll answer them as those come in. But I do thank you guys for visiting with me. Ty says, still guaranteed rate for entry flatbed. We have for regional flatbed. We have a minimum pay, we call it a minimum pay. It's $14.50 a week, and it is regional flatbed. That one has a sign-on bonus of $8,000 right now. So $8,000 for that position. You get paid $2,000 on your 6-month anniversary, $2,000 on your 9-month anniversary, and the remaining $4,000 on your 1-year anniversary for the sign-on bonus part, right? And as for the minimum pay, like you're saying, you make at least $14.50 a week. Let me actually talk about the qualifications for the minimum pay. You get your rate of pay per mile, right? So if you have 3 years of experience, I'm cheating here, but 3 years of experience for my flatbed would put you at 62 cents a mile to start, okay? 10 cents of that's per diem. You get a penny raise after 90 days, penny raise annually, but the minimum pay for this specific position is $14.50. So if the miles you ran and your rate of pay per mile, and this example is 62 cents a mile, if they don't exceed $14.50 a week, $1,450, then Decker makes up the difference so that you're getting paid $14.50. Okay, that's before taxes too. I should clarify that. That's before taxes. Okay, so there's that. Now, if the number of miles you ran and your rate of pay per mile exceed $14.50, then you're going to get the better of the two, right? You'll get the whatever that was, if it was $1,500 or $1,550 or whatever, you'll get the better of the two. But that is there. That's your safety net. So yes, Ty, we do still have that minimum pay rate. That one we do. I was trying to think experience-wise. We do require 6 months of experience. I don't currently have a trainer available for that one, so it's not entry level at this point because we do require that 6 months of experience. We can train you in flatbed in Fort Dodge. We just don't have a over-the-road trainer, so you have to have driving experience before you go on the road in order to qualify for that Midwest Flatbed Division. But like I said, we can train the securement, the flatbed securement in Fort Dodge. So if you have a year of experience, tractor trailer, but not a year of flatbed, we'll train you in the tarping and securement in Fort Dodge before you go out on your own. So you've got that. If you're looking to get started in that. Sound good? All right, I thank you so much for being here today. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to our recruiting department.